Testing one, two. Testing cat's audio for broadcast.
Going. Good. Good. Got finally back. All right. So far, I'm in the commissioner's office, so. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, it looks like they're not expecting either the mayor or Dan, so. It was a few meetings, so I think. Nice, this message over there, come back to the meeting. Sorry, we can come back to these meetings, yeah, yeah, so I'm keeping it. Oh, Thursday, okay. Yeah, I'm trying not to be too much of a slacker, and then spring break didn't fall on the right week, I was like, okay, fine. Yeah.
How are you? Could have printed this off. Yeah. Oh. Testing. Well, y'all want to begin? It's 1 minute past and we do have a quorum.
I'll leave my agenda here to share with you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, let's call this Thursday, May 11th, 2023 meeting of the Monroe County Solid Waste Management District Board of Directors to order. Let's begin with a roll call.
McKim,
Here.
Thomas,
Here.
Githens,
Here.
Hamilton,
It appears actually that he is here on Zoom, but he may need to be promoted to a panelist.
he had indicated to me earlier he would be joining virtually, but did have a budding meeting that ended at 4.
He's
Right, I
now-
just saw him on there.
There he is.
Thank you. Thank you. I just got promoted. I appreciate it. I'm here.
Piedmont Smith.
Here.
Jones. Swafford. You have a quorum.
Okay, so we do have a quorum, but we do have one participant remotely, so we'll be operating with hybrid meeting rules. All right. Let's see, the executive committee meeting minutes from April 5th, 2023. Are there any comments that you want to make on those, Mr. McGlasson?
I'm sorry.
On the executive committee meeting minutes?
I did not have any comments on those.
Okay. Any other board member?
No.
Okay, so then we have the Board of Directors meeting minutes from April 13th, 2023, which we will vote on. Is there anything you want to call to our attention on that?
I would just note for the record and for the board's information that the executive committee did not offer any revisions to these minutes, and they might need additional review and revision if the board has not reviewed them prior to this meeting.
Any comments on the minutes from board members?
No, I had actually sent you, I think, stuff. They were just real minor things, but I think you have taken care of a lot of them when I went back through these, so.
Yeah, yes, I did get sure of it. I mean, unless I'm misunderstanding our executive committee meeting, I thought there was some concern that there might be some additional review might be needed, so.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I move approval of the Board of Director meeting minutes of April 13th, 2023.
We have a motion,
Second.
a motion, a second. Any other comments from board members? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Githens,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes, even though I wasn't here.
McKim,
Yes.
Piedmont Smith.
Yes,
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the controller's report. And first thing we have on the agenda is cash flows.
Yes, first I'll apologize. Ms. Duar did go home at lunch today feeling ill, so she's unable to be with us. And unfortunately, we did not have updated operating cash flow statements available for the packet. I also do not have those available today, so staff's apologies for that. But for the other accounts, funds, as of April the 30th, 2023, the savings account had a balance of $1,014,249.15. The closure bond debt fund had a balance of $7,848.87. The capital improvement fund has a balance of $45,557.08. And the post-closure trust fund has a balance of $740,755.53. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you very much. Then we'll move on to payroll and claims.
Yeah, so there were no payroll, no claims processed this week that are being presented to the board today. So in the packet, you have a total of pre-approved claims, payroll and claims in the amount of $179,276.34.
We do have that number here. Okay, we'll see if we have any questions from board members from the right. Please.
yes, Mr. McGlasson, could you please review for me when longevity is paid? I see that with the payroll the past month, there were no longevity payments. Are those done just once a quarter or? what is it?
Longevity is I guess paid based on the employee's anniversary date. So employee gets their longevity payment on the payroll that's processed for the period that would encompass the anniversary date of their employment.
So it just happens that this.
It just happens that this month we didn't have any longevity payments due.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Any questions? No. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of payroll and claims.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of payroll and claims as presented in our packet for today's meeting.
We have a motion,
Second.
motion and a second. Any other comments? Are there any comments from members of the public, either in the audience here at the Nat U Hill Room or on Zoom, which you can indicate by raising your hand? All right, seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote.
Piedmont Smith,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
McKim,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Githens.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 5, resolution 2023-05. Approval of agreement between Monroe County Solid Waste Management District and Rumpke Waste and Recycling Monroe County Resource Recovery Facility.
Something that we've been discussing a little bit for a few months now, knowing that the Rumpke's facilities pending opening was upcoming. And as indicated in the memo on page 51, our current agreement with Republic Services does require us to try to enter into a same host fee agreement with any other facility that would open in Monroe County while that agreement is still in effect. So this, what is in the packet is an agreement that staff along with legal counsel Angela Parker has negotiated with Rumpke based on the current host fee agreement in place with Republic. And then I would say to the board at this time that since that agreement has been published in the board packet, been made public, Republic has had a chance to review it. There have been some questions raised regarding how this might potentially impact the agreement that we have with Republic. So I would recommend to the board that this resolution be tabled at this time until next month so that we can investigate the questions that have been raised and see if we need to make any changes to this agreement or potentially amend the Republic host fee agreement so that all parties are in agreement moving forward.
Okay, so would any board member like to make a motion to continue this item?
Could we talk about it and then continue it?
Okay,
Well, I was going to say also, we don't have a motion on the floor to move forward on it. So do we need that before we table it or continue it rather?
we could, or
But
we could just
I'm
amend.
just
the
asking for point of
agenda.
clarification. It's not.
Yeah, but go, please answer any or ask any questions you might have.
Yeah, so I wanted to know what the current host fee and disposal fee is for Republic. As in the proposal, we have a host fee of $2.75 per ton and $57.19 per ton as for the disposal fee with Rumpke. I'm wondering how that compares to the current fees with Republic.
The host fee amount and the disposal rate amount in the Republic agreement are the same as in the Rumpke agreement are the same as the current rates at the Hoosier Disposal Transfer Station.
Okay, great. And then I have one, well, I have another substantive question and I'm a little bit embarrassed to ask it because I should know the answer, but where does the orange bag waste go that the district collects? And do we pay host, like, do we pay a tipping fee for that or?
Yeah, currently the orange bag waste is managed by Republic and goes to the Hoosier Disposal Transfer Station. But all the MSW that comes from the district as well as the city of Bloomington is exempt from the host fee.
Okay, so the district just pays the $57.19 per ton and not the
Well,
additional.
we pay a negotiated rate that outside of this contract for the MSW that we send to Republic Services.
Okay, so is that part of our other contract with Republic where there are amounts for the waste and recycling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then the final thing I had was just, it seems to be a missing word that maybe can be fixed since we're probably going to table this. It's at the end of item 5. Other top of page 60 in the packet. Item 5, other facilities. At the very end, it says by providing the other party with a minimum written notice of 30. I think it should be 30 days. Right? There's the
I'm going to
word.
say that was Rumpke's omission.
Okay. Well, since we're taking a little time, we can fix it.
Yeah, so there may be other changes as well, so. All right, well, then if someone would like to move to approve this, and then we can entertain a motion to table. If you'd like to have it on the floor.
Okay, I move approval of, oops, forgot the number, Resolution 2023-05, agreement between Monroe County Solid Waste Management District and Rumpke Waste and Recycling.
We have a motion? A motion and a second. Now, would somebody like to move to table that item?
Can I ask one other question? Sorry.
Certainly.
So with the orange bag waste, currently we have an agreement that it goes to Republic. Is that an exclusive agreement? Or can we expect to open that agreement and possibly negotiate comparing?
I
Rumpke
would
with-
want to review the agreement before answering that, but that is that is the agreement that we were also talking about a few months ago that had a May 1st end date on the initial term, and then since neither party provided notice to not allow it to renew, it did automatically renew on May the 1st. And then there is during any of the renewal terms, either party may provide 120-day notice to opt out of that agreement.
So since we are now after May 1st and nobody moved to change it, that contract, that other contract, not the host fee, but
Yes, that contract is separate from the host fee.
But it considers for another year. right?
Yeah, the host fee is contained in the solid waste disposal agreement, which is included in the packet after the proposed Rumpke agreement. But then we have a second agreement with Republic that deals with managing processing of the materials that we collect and the transportation of those materials.
okay. All right, thank you.
And any other questions or comments? All right, I would entertain a motion to table this item.
I move to table resolution 2023-05.
Motion, we have a second.
Second,
Motion and a second. All right, should you do a roll call vote, please?
Piedmont Smith,
Yes,
Githens,
yes,
McKim,
Yes,
Hamilton,
Yes,
Thomas.
yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. All right, we'll move on to item number 6, award of multi-dwelling complex composting pilot program RFP. Mr. McGlasson.
Yes, on page 83 of the packet, you have a memo presenting this. If the board will recall, this is something that we have been discussing with the city of Bloomington, co-funding this pilot project. And I would advise the board that do not have that funding agreement in place with the city at this time. Have assurances from the city's Office of Economic and Sustainable Development that they're still they have drafted the agreement. They are waiting on their legal department's review of it. But they have assured me that the funds are in the budget and that they are committed to funding half of this agreement based on the $55,000 cost estimate that's in the one proposal received. So that is yet still in the works. But again, we did issue the RFP at the end of March. Proposals were due by April the 24th at noon. As indicated in the memo, 3 responses were received. 2 of those from Republic Services and Rumpke Waste and Recycling did not contain a proposal. They thank the district for the interest and the request, but not a project they're interested in at this time. So we had one actual proposal received from One Sustainable Joe. That's included with in the packet, along with a sheet that just kind of a table showing how that proposal matched up with the criteria, requirements and the criteria that were set out in the RFP. And the board should have, separate from the packet, received an email that contained the section of that proposal that was marked confidential, which was allowed in the RFP in section 10. The proposals was reviewed by the executive committee at their meeting on May the 2nd. There were no issues or concerns expressed regarding the proposal. As indicated in the memo, staff would recommend that we award the RFP to One Sustainable Joe based on the proposal received. That has a cost estimate of $55,000 for up to 6 complexes to pilot the program at.
Thank you very much. Before we open this for questions, let me just make sure I understand. You want a separate vote on this award and then a separate vote on resolution 2023-06 authorizing the board?
Yes, we would need to award the RFP to the selected offerer proposer. And then once that award is made, would ask that the board authorize entering into an agreement to move that project forward.
Great.
Which would be the resolution. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't let's see. Why don't we go ahead and I'll entertain a motion to put that on the floor, and then we can ask questions.
So I will move approval of the proposal for multi-dwelling complex composting pilot program from One Sustainable Joe.
Yeah. we have a motion.
Second.
Great. Motion and a second. All right. Well, let's open up for questions and comments from the right. Please.
So has the city agreed to the contract language that is in our packet?
The city has indicated that that their agreement is to fund half of the program. The actual contract is between the district and the selected offerer, and they are aware of the proposal and then its total cost, and are still stating they're in agreement to fund half of that.
Okay, all right. So they're not party to the, actual contract.
They do not wish to be a party to the contract.
got it.
Makes it much simpler.
I'm sorry?
Makes it much simpler.
Yes.
I think. Yeah. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I'm excited about this and appreciate the leadership of several people who've helped make this happen. I did want to just note, and maybe, I'm sorry if it's in the materials, I haven't reviewed them in great detail. Mr. Winia, who is affiliated with this company, obviously interacts with this board quite a bit, as I believe. And I just wanted to make sure we're transparent about that and reflect why that's okay as the only responsive entity. But in terms of his relationship with this board, I know he won't vote on this project, but I think it's important just to share that. And I don't know if that's already been done or if it's in writing. And if I missed it, I'm sorry, but it might be helpful, Mr. McGlasson, just to kind of explain our thinking on that.
Yeah, and I do apologize. I was remiss in that. Yes, and I would note that Mr. Winia, who the proprietor of One Sustainable Joe, is with us today. And yes, to be transparent and for the record, he is the current chair of our Citizens Advisory Committee and has served on the CAC for 2 years now. So, so that is the existing relationship that is in place.
So I think that's a fair point to make. And just as Mr. McGlasson confirmed before, though, this was an open process. And in fact, we did solicit other or encouraged other offerers to propose as well. And this was the only proposal we received.
I'm sorry. The request for proposal was publicly advertised, was put out on our website, and we had at least one Facebook post about it. And we did directly solicit requests from 5 different entities.
And I just think for the record, and look, Mr. Winya does great work for our community and for this organization. And I think it's just also important for the record to state, if we can state that accurately, that he would have had no participation in the development of the RFP due to his role with the district. But as you indicated, it was an RFP developed internally and shared publicly, and we welcome all comers. Just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that issue. Thanks.
Indeed. Thank you.
Yeah,
Commissioner Thomas.
Yeah, so I just have a general question, and I don't know who can address this, but how will we know if it's been successful? In other words, is there a benchmark in terms of how many residents there are and how much waste is diverted over a certain time period? Are there going to be points where we're checking in throughout this time period to see how the program's going, move it to a different location if need be? How is that all going to work and who's managing that?
Yeah, I mean, we at this point, firm benchmarks have not been set. That is something that would be discussed when we completed the agreement and started to move the project forward. Part of the proposal did indicate that that One Sustainable Joe would provide regular reports back to the district and the city, for that matter, on the progress of the project. Part of the issue that we have is that we still have to identify those complexes that are going to participate in the pilot, and then depending on the turnover of their residents, we have a number of apartment units right now that just emptied out for the summer, and they may want to participate, but we won't get them started until August or September next year, when their clientele moves back in. So for a number of the complexes, for any of them at that matter, we don't exactly know when the project is going to start. So stating that we expect a report in 60 days, we may only have one project, one pilot project running that's only been up running for 3 or 4 weeks at that point. So those are some of the unknowns that are in there. And I think if you look in the contract, we kind of intentionally left some of the timelines open-ended, or extending out like to the end of 2024, just not knowing when all of the apartment complexes experience turnover and move in, and making sure that we had adequate time for any complex that wanted to participate, the ability to get it in place and have time to get the residents going on it, and have an adequate measure of the impact it might have.
All right. Other questions from the right? From the left? No. Or from Zoom? All right. Let's see. So is there any public comment? Either if you're in the Nat U Hill room, please approach the lectern, or on Zoom, please raise your hand. All right, seeing nothing, we will do a roll call vote.
And then just to clear, this vote is to award the multi-dwelling complex composting pilot program RFP to One Sustainable Joe.
Sustainable Joe, correct.
Thomas,
Yes.
Piedmont Smith,
Yes.
Githens,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
McKim.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. Now we have a related resolution 2023-06.
Yes, I move approval of resolution 2023-06. Monroe County Solid Waste Management District contract for multi-dwelling complex composting pilot program.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
So this is a little bit slightly revised version of the agreement that was included in the proposal. One of the requirements of the RFP was to include a proposed service agreement for the pilot project. Since we only had the one proposal, we did go ahead and work with the offer and district legal counsel and make some modifications to that. Mr. Baker from the county attorney's office, as legally he is he has no issues with this agreement as it's written. I would note for the record, one question that I raised, and I apologize, I can't point out exactly in there, and Mr. Winnie can help me if he knows where, but the proposal is $55,000 for up to 6 complexes. So what happens if we only get 4 that participate in the program? But the rate will be prorated based on the number of complexes that participate. I will, if I may, I'll ask Mr. Winnie to step to the podium and help me address this.
Indeed. Afternoon, Board of Directors. Joseph Winnie here, proprietor of One Sustainable Joe. Just want to point out that it is in section 2.1 of the proposed composting pilot service agreement, which states the compensation. It would be if the district accepts, the basic schedule would be first an amount due at signing, which would be enough to start off all of the implementation of the program and acquire materials. And then there would be 2 subsequent points of payment at the midpoint and the completion of the project. And those totals would be based on an invoice for the services provided at the point of those payment periods. So that would be a function of how much work has been performed up to that point and would reflect how many sites are participating.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, you may want to stay there just in case would you mind, just in case anybody has any questions? They may not, but, all right, let's see. Do we have any questions from the left?
No.
Or from the right? Yes, please.
I'm trying to find it in the agreement, but the timeline, I know there was some conversation at the executive committee meeting whether the deadline should be November of 2023 or whether it should be the spring of 2024. Is that going to remain nebulous at this point and kind of depend on how recruitment goes, or has that been solidified?
I am looking up that reference right now, and it is in, let's see.
I think it's on page 99 of our packet.
Oh,
99.
in the proposal. Not in the service agreement.
So it's actually, there are 2 locations where there's mention of it. And the one that I'm looking up is actually in Schedule A, which defines the service. And it is oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's at 9.3.
Yes. There it is. So that is the contractually defined part, because it's mentioned both in the proposal and in the contract. The proposal just gives estimates for the 3 phases of the program. And then the contract does suggest a recruitment deadline of either Friday, November 17th, 2023, or Friday, May 4th, 2024. So those can be chosen or could be amended, but those are the proposed times, which are essentially the end of the fall of this year, with an intent to not recruit over the winter necessarily, with a potential for a spring period as well, which I figured would be practical based on a function of the implementation of the project and the status at that given time. So the intent is to have one of 2 possible deadlines, just to ensure that it's not completely open-ended, but it is negotiable and can be amended per the terms of the contract as well. Does that answer your question?
Yes, so it remains open-ended, and I imagine the variables to consider here would be
Yeah,
how
and I would
recruitment is
just,
going, and
I would also point out that again, in Schedule A, in number 6 on page 116, 6.3 does call for a 12-month partner period at each site. So, depending on when it initiates, you get 12 months from that date. So that was ensuring that we had enough time to, to adequately implement the pilot, get the residents of the complex, comfortable that, the intent, the idea is to get the complex itself to continue on its own after the pilot program completes. But we need enough time to ensure that people get trained and comfortable with how to manage the process moving forward.
So basically, if you've got two deadlines, though, it's the latter, unless we do something to eliminate the latter deadline, it's really the latter deadline that applies,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, right. But it could be earlier than that, depending on at what point we reach 6 participants. And if we get 6 that jump in and
It's the same deadline. It doesn't matter. You can get something done before a deadline, so that's fine.
well, but if we have 6 complexes that sign on to do this coming September, they have 12 months. September of 24 would be the end of the project.
Right, so it could, as Commissioner Thomas said, it can end before the.
Yes,
the
it could end,
deadline.
it could end before. Yeah.
Thank
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
All right,
So I'm sorry, now I'm confused. So the end of the project should be considered the end of the 12-month period of the last apartment complex to sign on, right?
Correct.
Correct. And
So I don't know how that could possibly be November of this year.
so this deadline, the deadline specified in section 9.3 is just for recruitment.
Oh, for recruitment, the
Correct.
recruitment deadline.
So that would essentially start the 12-month timer where the last recruitment opportunity closes, and then the program actually ends 12 months after the last site is onboarded.
Right.
So that's where that timing variable comes in, is it's going to be a function of when sites are onboarded.
Thank you.
Correct.
And I think there was another question, and maybe since the mayor is on the meeting, we can check in with him about the funding from the city of Bloomington, which may be requested, or at least part of it, in 2024 rather than 2023, depending on how how quickly the project moves forward. Is that, would that be problematic for the city? I don't know, Tom, if you talked to the department head in question, or if the mayor can enlighten us.
we talked about encumbering.
Yes, yeah, no, and I apologize. I have not had a chance to take that up with the city's Office of Sustainability yet, but we'll certainly, before we would execute the funding agreement, that make sure everybody is on the same page about when funds would need to be expended or transferred to the district or however that it shouldn't be a problem for the district to encumber funds to move forward, but we have to have the funds. So
I think it should be fine for the city to encumber the funds this year with a potential payout over the next 12 months or whatever that can cross into the next year. That should be fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, and any other questions from the left? Okay, or from Zoom?
Got somebody with their hand.
I see a hand up on
Okay,
Zoom.
there is a comment from a member of, actually, there may be several members of the public who'd like to make comment. Let's begin with, pardon me if I pronounce this wrong, Julio Newt at gmail.com.
Oh, hi. So I'm kind of new here, but I was just wondering what happened.
We are just, we are approving an agreement for a composting pilot for up to 6 multifamily apartment complexes.
Oh, what is the reason for this, if you don't mind me asking?
Actually, there's a lot of information in the packet for this board meeting. If maybe we can get somebody to put a link to the board packet in the chat, because I think that has information that, unless Mr. McGlasson, if there's anything else you want to say, but I think.
Well, I would add that.
Well, is this a courtroom?
This is not a courtroom, no. This is a public meeting of the Monroe County Solid Waste Management District.
Oh, okay. Thank you for responding to my question.
Okay, thank you. But there is a lot more background that can be found okay, great. The link to the packet is in the chat, which provides a lot of background on this project. All right, we also have public comment, looks like from Mr. John Bennett.
Hello?
Hello, we hear you.
Yes, it's you can hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Sorry, I'm hearing isn't so good. I wanted to ask, who is shit, I'm coming.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I believe this public speaker hung up. All right, is there any other public comment, either on Zoom or in the Nat U Hill room? It's seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote.
Githens,
Yes.
McKim,
Yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Piedmont Smith.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. And now we have Mr. Winia up for the CAC report.
Indeed, I appreciate the recommendation to stay at the podium. So there is quite a bit in the report. It can be pretty quickly summarized, though. Mostly that CAC is starting to get ready for next steps in its planning process now that we've completed the discussion about the 5-year management plan. So our next meeting will be about first steps in CAC budget requests and starting the budget process, including the subsequent or the joint meeting for the CAC and the board on that subject. So our discussion on the 5-year management plan included the board as well. I added one coincidental note on the ban. So at the Switchyard Park Earth Day event sponsored by the City of Bloomington's Department of Economic and Sustainable Development, I crossed paths with a table that had a signature form for a petition for banning the ban on single-use materials implemented by the state, and that coincidentally, the Indiana Porter County Waste, I think it's Recycling and Waste Reduction District had also reached out to another member of the CAC about the same initiative. So it hasn't produced anything yet, but it's something that the CAC will be discussing at our next meeting as well. And then we've also rescheduled our next meeting to work around the conflict with the City of Bloomington Utilities anaerobic biodigester information update. That is this, I believe, coming Thursday, May 18th. And then lastly, there are several members who are planning to attend the opening of Rumpke's new transfer station. So that will be also taking place on May 16th.
Great. All right. Thank you very much for that report. Are there any questions or comments from board members? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to department reports.
I will just, briefly on the legislative update, the majority of the bills that we've been watching have passed at this point and have been signed by the governor. And I will bring back to the board next month a more in-depth report on those and the impact that they would have on the district, dates that they would go into effect, and what changes might be required by the district to comply with those. Unfortunately, just have not had time the past few weeks to adequately research all of those. So, and then I unfortunately need to report that Earth Keepers is ceasing operations at the end of this month, and this is it's a very unfortunate circumstance. This is a huge loss for the district and the community. To note for the district's purposes and people that use district's facilities, May the 29th is the last day that they will be servicing the food waste collection bins at our recycling centers. So after May the 29th, we will not be able to accept food waste at the recycling centers for the foreseeable future, and until we can identify another alternative for that. Again, it's an unfortunate circumstance, and Earth Keepers has been a valuable and reliable partner for the district, and a great asset for this community. And we're certainly sorry to see them have to cease operations. We're moving forward with rebranding. We have reviewed some draft logo ideas, provided feedback for those. We do anticipate getting a second round of draft logos back in the near future. So that's moving forward. I also wanted to point out Kayla Strand, our waste reduction specialist, has gotten connected with an organization called the Green Business Engagement National Network. And this is an association of communities and local organizations that are doing a lot of what we envisioned this position to do for us. So this is a great connection that she's made, and she's getting some great information together and really starting to be able to establish a program that we can take out into the local community and start doing what we anticipated that position doing. So I'm really excited that she's made that connection. And the closest one to us is actually in Urbana, Illinois. So they're close enough. She's been invited to go do some waste assessments, local businesses with them. And that's just going to be a great connection for her. Really, really excited for her about that. So, do also need to announce, it's not in the memo, that Ms. Pocrell, Lisa Pocrell, has scheduled for June 10th a composting workshop for backyard composting, which be relevant given the situation with Earth Keepers for a lot of people potentially. So they can contact Ms. Pocrell at 812-349-2020 or epocrell@mcswmd.org to get more information or to register for that composting seminar.
Oh.
With
Great.
that, be happy to answer any questions.
Right. It looks like the mayor has a question.
Thanks. Not a question. I just wanted to comment, a lot of us have enjoyed the persistence and creativity and innovation of Earth Keepers. I know, Mr. McGlasson, you indicated the great collaboration. This work is not for the faint of heart. And Andrea and Ryan were not faint of heart, and they worked really hard. And I know I'm sure there's a range of factors, but just a reminder how important the innovation is and the efforts. And I just want to kind of officially appreciate their efforts on behalf of our community, and hope we can continue to collaborate and work together and kind of send our salute for all the great work they've done and continue to try to do in the face of what is often, complicated economics and other stressors. But we really appreciate that. And I just wanted to go on record thanking them for their efforts.
Right. Well said. Well said. Any other questions for Mr. McGlasson? All right. Other department.
Yeah, to
updates?
ask technical services if Joey Long could be promoted to panelist, allowed to speak and share video, please.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'll start with recycling and reuse. We have been extremely busy with customers coming in looking for gardening items, as far as newspapers, cardboard, plastic containers that can be repurposed for their own gardens. Seems like a lot more people's getting out there doing that this year, which is great because, we're reusing stuff. Our Green Business Network, we got hooked up with Chick-fil-A. We've been with them. We got them signed on as a new green business. They have an abundance of cardboard that they needed recycling. So we are now picking them up twice a week. So we're getting a lot of cardboard from them guys. The hazardous materials, we've worked with the hand department on our first neighborhood cleanup, which was the French Terrace. And we took in a lot of stuff. I'd like to say thank you to John Todd Allen and Andrew Lizelle, our hazmat guys. They took in 919 pounds of chemicals, 25 tires, fluorescent light bulbs, and TVs from that one neighborhood. That's a lot of stuff to take in on a Saturday. So them guys really outdone themselves, and we got another neighborhood cleanup coming up next Saturday with hand. We also worked with Monroe County EMA with the tornado cleanup. That is our monthly totals for April. What we picked up, the Freon appliances was 2 tanks, 2 household chemicals. It's been great getting out there, work with them. And I would have to, I don't want to mention no names. I want to say thank you to all the staff, because that's, you know, when we pull people away to go do something, somebody else has got to pick up. So that was a joint effort on everybody down here. I actually sent out the guys today. We went out there to do another round of cleanup today. I haven't got the numbers yet from what they picked up. And the rural recycling centers, they're all operating as normal. If you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Long? Yes, Commissioner Thomas.
This isn't a question, but just a comment. I just want to thank you and the staff for stepping up for the folks who were impacted by the tornado. It's really important that that work is still continuing. It doesn't go away overnight, unfortunately. You know, we were lucky that there weren't any fatalities, but it was a very significant event for anybody who's gone out there. It's pretty incredible. So thank you to you and your staff for working on that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was very devastating to go out there. I actually went out and helped clean up some stuff. And honestly, everybody here was glad to help and pitch in and pick up slack from somebody else having to go. So it's all been great.
Oh,
I have a question for Mr. Long. Last month, you said you were pursuing possibility of recycling plastic bags. Where does that stand?
I'm still in talks with them. They do accept them. They have a lot of restrictions. I'm trying to finalize what restrictions they have and make sure we can do it, because we definitely don't want to take something where they're just throwing the bales that we send into trash. So we're trying to get everything nailed down to what we can and can't do. We probably, it's going to be a long process to re-educate the public on what we can and can't take. But, you know, if it's something that we can offer, we definitely want to do it. I sent out an email today talking to them to get some more clarification. So I'm just waiting on some responses.
I appreciate your work.
Right.
on this.
thanks.
I wanted to follow up real fast on the tornado debris cleanup, and for anybody that's listening or watching, just to let you know, we're working with EMA on this, and at this point, we've decided that we're not going to make any regular runs out to Texas Ridge or Wolf Mountain Road at this point, but that doesn't mean that we're not done. We understand that I've seen the area. This is not going to be a quick process. So residents of that area are welcome to bring materials down to our facility, and if they have proof of address with them and it's in the damage area, we'll waive any fees for any materials that they may have. If they don't have the ability to get it down there, or they still have a large quantity of stuff, they're welcome to call down to the office, and we will schedule a run out there to collect the materials that need to be collected.
Oh, terrific. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Long.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Let's see. Additional department reports. Mr. Paulson.
Yeah, Lee Paulson, Environmental Compliance and Landfill Director. What did that do? Whoop, I lost you. Sorry about that. The report is the stuff is on there that we've been working on for the month of April. The only thing that I would add to that is that Mary Beth and I, as of today, finished our groundwater sampling and got those samples shipped off for May. This was our short list. Things all went well. Equipment all went well. Weather was nice and all that kind of stuff. So as long as nothing is damaged or anything like that during shipping with the sample bottles. And tomorrow we'll officially be done with it, and then just wait for the lab reports and all the statistician stuff. So, and then hopefully next week we'll get back out. We've been trying to go out once a week to do like a coordinated cleanup with a larger crew of people to try to tackle some of these more difficult roads, so we can have multiple trucks and multiple people to try to make it go a little quicker and safer. So, but if anybody had any questions, let me know.
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Paulson? Nope. Thank you very much.
I was encouraged to see all the community outreach and the kinds of things that, you know, people were cleaning up roadways and stuff like that. It's great to see that pick up again with the spring,
That is great.
the Adopt Road program.
And actually, I do have one more question for Mr. McGlasson, actually, just based on the council's action on the trucks. What's kind of the timeline now for getting your vehicles replaced?
Well, I would ask Mr. Paulson when I'm done, you know, to weigh in. We, you know, obviously I've asked him to go ahead and work with Curry Auto Center where we received the quotes and get, these aren't on the lot. We have to order them. So I think we were looking at a 3 to 4 month delivery time. Also, still working with the auditor's office to, you know, go through the DLGF Gateway website and formally, you know, complete the processing of that additional appropriation so that we can actually spend the money.
Yeah, but 3 to 4 months, you're saying, for lead time to get the
Ms.
vehicles?
Paulson, do you recall, did they give you an estimate of timeline?
She tried to be as vague as possible with that, just because there's a lot of factors that nobody, you know, and until we get a signed agreement to say that we're definitely going to purchase them, and then whatever orders they have coming in during that time. But she said it should be 2 to 3 months at least, once we get some kind of signed agreement between Curry and us to purchase the vehicles. And that's as much information as she can give me that time.
He emailed Wednesday morning and said, we have approval. Let's make it happen.
Right.
Yeah, I've emailed the salesperson at Curry, and I'm just waiting for a response to her to follow the next steps to get this moving.
Great. All right, thank you. Any other questions on department reports? Okay. Oh, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, it's just a little thing, but I just stuck in the chat. I think it's great to give free disposal of that storm damage. I just didn't know if there's any chance that FEMA or somebody else would compensate us for that. There's often funding that can support those who are helping respond to those things. But anyway, it's something to think about. Maybe you've already dealt with it.
Yeah, we've been working with the county EMA department, and FEMA reimbursement is a possibility. And we've been given the sheets we need to use to track what we collect and our cost and our cost of staff cost, material cost, and cost for processing that material. And there is a potential for reimbursement.
Great, thank you. All right, now it is the time in the meeting when we take public comment from members of the public who'd like to make comment on items that are not on the agenda. Is there anyone in the Nat U Hill room who'd like to make public comment? If so, please approach the lectern. All right, seeing none, is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to make comment? If so, please raise your hand. Also seeing none, we'll move on to comments from directors. Do we have any comments from the left?
I just hope the existing trucks survive for the next couple of months.
Yep. Great. Any from the right? Yes. Ms. Piedmont Smith.
Well, it's already been said, but I would like to also add my praises for Earth Keepers, their whole organization, and especially Andrea and Ryan Conway. They really put their heart and soul and sacrificed sleep and other vacations and everything to make this business work for the last few years. And I can certainly understand that there has come a time, the time has come where they can no longer do that, and the financial situation is just not feasible for them. So I wish them well. I'm glad they're staying in the community. I'm sure they will still be a resource one-on-one as far as education and advocacy for organic waste reduction. And so I really just wanted to say how much I appreciated everything they've done for the community. And will, continue to consult them perhaps as our resident experts on this topic as we move forward with other initiatives, hopefully in the city, the county, and or the district.
Indeed. Thank you. Any other comments from board members? Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I must be right in front of you. You see me so well. That's awesome. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You are right in front of me.
I just wanted to also thank the board and the staff, Mr. McGlasson in particular, for his close work with the waste to energy, as we call it, but also the anaerobic digester pilot study effort. We supported the study. I think it's next Thursday. I hope people can attend to learn more about it. It's really an extraordinary and a very significant opportunity for our community. And I think the partnership between utilities and the solid waste district in that first step of exploring whether this can be done is really a wonderful collaborative effort. Appreciate all that and encourage people to go. It's quite a deep and significant report that will be shared that evening, Thursday evening, late afternoon. I don't know the details, but I know they're in the packet. Thanks.
Thank you. And I believe that is Thursday, May 18th at 5:30 p.m. at the Monroe Convention Center. Great. Okay. Seeing no other comments, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Congratulations for one sustainable job. Well, I